So I'm Shannon, Nicholson, and I'm playing Jason. So Jason is a police officer, a rookie police officer. So it's pretty much his like first night on duty, and he's with a superior officer. So he's a bit nervous. It's the first night and everything, so he's a little unsure of himself. When they get a call, he wasn't really listening or anything like that, so he's very unsure of himself at first. No, I was just a bit overwhelmed at the time, and I kind of forgot to listen to the situation. Won't happen again. Biggest challenge? It was interesting to play a character that's not so over the top. I'm used to being over the top, so trying to bring it back is a little bit difficult. So it's just sort of trying to create that natural sounding without over the top sort of thing.
Hi, I'm Tanya and I am playing Kate, the tough cop. Kate is, she's a no-nonsense, fast-talking, fairly experienced policewoman, I guess. She has a noob on scene with her and they're going into a situation they don't know what to expect. So Kate, as a character, biggest challenges for me were, well, she's quite tough and really quite stern and sarcastic, and she flips between all those sort of emotions quite quickly, and I'm not quite as angry as Kate. So channeling her cop anger and her sort of aggression, I guess, which is a totally great thing to have when you're a police officer, I'm sure. It just makes it really hard, but also she seems to have a lot of empathy for what's going on. I guess finding the balance there was really difficult for me.
You're feeling something all right, but it ain't in your gut. Look, if you're so convinced she's innocent, go find something that proves it. I'll look after her. Go!
To prepare for Kate, I just tried to imagine actually one of my good friends who's quite tall and quite stern a lot of the time, and I maybe used my mum tell-off voice a lot, which seems to be the same as cops telling people off for some reason.
I can say with Ryan, in the first episode, I'm on the phone, so it sounds like I'm on the phone, but at least in episode 2, I'm actually live.
An actual person.
An actual person, yeah. So that's good. That's a development of some sort. Yeah.
Medea, I feel like has her resourcefulness even more so has come out in the second episode. Like there's got a plan and getting it starts to show her ability to really see her end game, right, what she's looking for. Like I don't know what happens afterward, but I feel like in the beginning it was a little more out of control, and now it seems like it's becoming more of a plan for her.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm also moving on to a different guy. I feel like, yeah. Medea's disposed of
Ryan's
gone.
Yeah, Ryan's damaged goods, basically.
So that's a development.
Yeah, okay. I feel like for Ryan as well, because in episode 1, it was just basically, his range of emotions was really limited. It was just like anger, confusion, frustration, anger.
Gotcha.
But in episode 2, it's good that I can display like other facets of him, his other emotions, especially, which won't go into details, of course, but what he finds out in that episode, that kind of changes his emotions, and then he becomes, I can do things like sadness and anger and frustration, and there's all these things that I can really develop, and I can just show off more of Ryan. So Ryan isn't just an angry, confused guy.
Yeah.
So
you need to find more about Ryan's life. This probably doesn't sound so great, but that you can actually relate to any character. So for me, Medea, like I was like, oh, she's pretty out there. But with all of the work, finding that there are like what would make me do the type of things that she does? Are there things that would make me do that? And having to do that in my homework meant that it just made me realize that there are characters, or you can relate to anyone if you dig deep enough. So it's like, ooh.
Well, anyone can experience loss, obviously, especially with Ryan, what he went through, finding out he loses his wife in episode 2, and
Ryan goes on a killing rampage in episode 3.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. He goes on a huge It's pretty massive. It's feeling like, from what I've learned as well, it just feels, because I've never been through that situation where I've lost someone so close in those circumstances, but figuring out that, when I was doing my homework for the role as well, learning that, seeing something like that can just be so devastating, and it can really affect anyone, affect them. And it's just shocked. I mean, I couldn't imagine what it's like in real life. Finding out your partner's, something's happened to them, or you've seen something happen to them, God forbid. It's just, I can imagine, well, I can't experience it, but the trauma would be so great. So, loss is a huge, huge thing for everyone. And whenever you're going to do a conference, make sure you screen the people you give cards to.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going on a date with you. No, you can't have my phone number.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
I think people who are going to enjoy this podcast are people that are into a bit of mystery and a bit of suspense, and they like a bit of whodunit, but they also kind of like unexpected twists and turns as well, because that seems to be what's happening so far, but I've only had a little snapshot into what's going on.
I think a person who likes sort of thriller type podcasts, nice interesting twists and stories, I think a lot of people would like it, that like story-based ones that they don't necessarily know what's going to happen. So people like to be on the edge of their seats, really.